was 18 years old, and I remember waking up in my college dorm room in the middle of the night, and my body was panicking, and my heart was racing, my chest was really tight, my body was really warm, and that was my first experience with anxiety. Over the next few weeks and months, I experienced panic attacks a lot. They were happening during the day, in school, in class, with friends, hanging out, and happening at night when I was sleeping. It was something that was robbing me of joy and being able to just enjoy life. In the season of asking a lot of questions, I sought out a professional counselor. I started to meet with my counselor weekly, and it actually brought a lot of peace to what I was feeling, to help me understand where it was coming from. So even though it was still very much a season, I was experiencing them and they were happening possibly just as often as before I started seeing her, it helped me to have some answers to put a name to what was actually happening to me. So life continued through this process and journey of anxiety. I eventually got married and had 2 kids. A lot of times anxiety can come out of nowhere. And in that moment, I began to believe any type of catastrophic idea that my mind can come up with, any lie that isn't true. I could be driving and my mind will lead me to believe that I'm gonna get into an accident, that I'm gonna lose control of the car. I think about having my family in the car, and it can turn into a much bigger idea than what is really happening. And there was a season of a lot of pain and difficulty that wasn't in my control. And this season of anxiety led me into a deep depression, a season of depression that I'd never known before. I lacked a lot of motivation to move forward in life and found myself in bed for a week and not being able to take care of my kids or show up for my husband. I remember my therapist saying, because this is new and a different season of anxiety, she encouraged medication for the first time. And I remember thinking, yeah, right. Like, medication is not an option for me. I've done this for years before. I can get back up and do it. I'll be okay. And when she explained the process with the medication and how it could benefit me, I said yes. The medication essentially took my brain out of the fog and helped me be able to function how I needed to function on a day-to-day basis to be able to show up for my family. I was raised in church. I was raised in a home that believed that God is bigger than these things and that He is healer and He does miracles. And I remember at the very beginning of my journey in anxiety, I'm so sorry. I remember at the beginning of my journey with anxiety, crying on my knees, begging God to take it away. And I know that in my relationship with Him, what He has shown me is that it's not a matter of Him removing it. And even though it's difficult and I would want it to go away, I have come to the place of understanding that it's like Paul describes in the Bible, the thorn in his side, the one thing he begs God to take away, is in fact the one thing that keeps him humble and on his knees to Jesus. And that is exactly what anxiety has been for me. Or in that process, I realized He was actually answering my prayer of maybe not in a miraculous way of immediately taking it away, but He gave me community. He's given me a loving husband to help me walk through that. It's a process, and it's actually taken years for me to get to even a comfortable place of understanding that this might not ever go away. And I do still experience anxiety. But I know that I have the tools and the resources, and I've done the work to get to a place where I have some sense of control. I have peace in my relationship with God that He will never leave me in this process, and He will always stand by my side in it.